I'd like to just get started. Welcome. So I'll start with a few words and then we'll launch into the rest of the program. Our fabrics express who we are. They convey our identity as individuals, our associations as members of a group, and our values as a society. It is a fascinating mystery how these culturally meaningful materials have remained functionally unchanged since the dawn of history. The opportunity to help transform this ubiquitous material for the first time is historical and is the reason to be here today. To effect this transformation of fabrics, you need to first think fibers, specifically to bring the types of materials that we see in devices into the fiber itself, to get fibers to emit light, store energy, change color, convert light to sound. Today, we announce a Moore's Law for fibers, the rapid progress in the basic capabilities of fibers enabled by AFFOA's technology investments. As consumers, we want to pay less every year for the goods we buy. Fabrics are sold today as goods, and the reality of declining margins and limited R&D budgets create a vicious cycle leading to job loss. Who would want to invest in a sector that is destined to declining margins? Armed with the Moore's Law for fibers, we can now, for the first time in history, imagine and deliver woven, knitted, or even non-woven fabrics that provide services: see, hear, sense, communicate, change color, store energy, heat, and cool. That would be very useful today. This creates the context. That's in our next event. This creates the context for a new economy for fabrics, where these products deliver high-value, high-margin services to consumer. At AFFOA, we call this fabrics as a service. The facility we're celebrating today with generous support from MIT, from the Commonwealth, is called the Fabric Discovery Center. It is the first of its kind prototyping facility harnessing Moore's Law for fibers to produce fabrics as a service. The FDC is a launchpad for AFFOA's model to fabric innovation and discovery, combining intellectual property and knowledge from university, funding and consumer insights from product companies and government, and rapid prototyping and experimentation through manufacturers. This potent mix, embodied in the FDCs, which will be set up in communities across the country, will enable advanced fabric innovation, and we call this Fabric is the New Software. I'm pleased today to announce, and we're not here to celebrate bricks and mortar. That is always great to have, but really the human spirit, and there is no better way to communicate what comes out of human spirit than through products and product innovation. So I'm pleased to announce today AFFOA's first commercially ready product platforms. How many of you thought that within the first year of operation, we will already be showcasing products based on intellectual property and U.S. manufacturing? So the first product I'm going to be talking about is actually a very interesting one, and all of you are going to get to experience it a little bit later. Light can be easily directed, but sound much less so. You all could hear me speaking. Wouldn't it be great to direct sound just like we direct light? Actually, wouldn't it be great if we could use light to direct sound? How about not just any sound, but high-quality audio? So our first product for today is called Fabric Li-Fi, and it is where the quality of sound meets the resolution and directionality of light. Fabric Li-Fi is the world's first fabric-based communication system that allows you to receive high-fidelity audio from the lights above you. We've woven the first-generation Moore's Law optical receiving fibers into a cap that you're going to get to experience a little bit later, allowing it to receive high-fidelity audio stream from the lights above. And mind you, no phone is involved. What are the types of application we envision for this? Indoor navigation. You come to a hospital, you need to get to a department, radiology department. The lights are programmed to actually communicate with your fabrics and guide you. GPS doesn't work inside. You're viewing a beautiful installation in a museum, and you want to hear a different perspective from every direction you look. You're watching a game with your buddy and happen to be fans of different teams, and you actually want to receive a narration that is specific to you and to your preferences. Directed fabric communications also have some significant national security applications, and General Kern will mention some of that. We use our fabrics to express our identity, but we are unique, and the fabrics we put on is not. The second product that we actually have all given out today is really the first fabric that is as unique as you are. Each one of the backpacks that you have is unique. There isn't a second copy in the whole world. And what makes this amazing is that it is mass-produced in South Carolina. With JanSport's support, we were able to make this intellectual property protected, made in America fabric into the world's first programmable backpack. And you are all the proud owners of that. What does this pack allow you to do? Well, you should download the app that goes with it and begin to explore. Simply put, it allows you to share things about yourself and about your passions that are beyond what people can see. So we call the system looks, and we call the process looking. And looking, if you think about it, is the most common thing we do, but it doesn't leave any lasting impression. And this actually allows you to add a whole nother layer of depth to that looking. We say that necessity is the mother of all inventions, which brings me to a short story. So my mom is in the audience here, and my dad is as well. And being the absent-minded child I was, she found herself pretty regularly trying to get me not to leave my backpack in school or on buses. So one thing that I will say about this backpack is that it could never be lost. It's registered to you, and if you ever misplace it, you just need to log on, and anybody that looks the pack is going to be able to see that it's lost. Too bad I didn't have this a few years back. Would have saved me a lot of trouble. So thank you, Mom, for inspiring these ideas, and it is a pleasure to introduce our speakers. So first and foremost is President Reif. I could stand here for a long time speaking about how profound his impact has been on me personally, on MIT in general, a person who has really led the way to getting us out of the ivory tower and into the world in terms of making a difference. So I wanted to thank President Reif and Provost and Maria, who were also here and together with him. We're then going to go to Governor Baker. You all know that our governor is the most popular in the country. I think it's 75 was last week's approval ratings. Lots of different reasons for it. At least the reason I've given to it is that he's done something that is very rare these days, which is delivering on promises. And his promise and commitment to us was a $40 million promise, and his administration has actually delivered on that. Next will come Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. Senator Warren is a tireless advocate for middle-class families, for health care, and for many other just causes. Enjoyed a distinguished career as a law professor at another Cambridge University, and my dad, I think, went to that same program years ago. After that, but he was the one that told me, don't go to Harvard, you better go to MIT. Seriously. After the Undersecretary, we have Congresswoman Niki Tsongas, who will speak from the Massachusetts 3rd District. Congresswoman Tsongas represents 37 cities and towns in Massachusetts, many with a long industrial tradition. Highlight of today, for sure, one of the highlights is Congressman Joe Kennedy, representative of the 4th District of Massachusetts, offered remarks. The Congressman's Revitalize America, American Manufacturing Innovation Act supports a network of domestic manufacturing centers aimed at fueling new technologies and educating next-generation workforce. Next, we'll hear from an MIT alum who also happens to be the Undersecretary of Defense for Acquisition Technology and Logistics, Undersecretary MacStravic, supports DoD's efforts to boost the purchasing power and performance of defense acquisition. The president of New Balance is going to talk after that, President DeMartini, who's really embraced technology and has been a supporter of us, and we look forward to a great collaboration. And last but not least, it's been a privilege of my life to report to General Paul Kern, one of this country's most decorated veterans. He's been an inspiration to me, and as AFFOA's chairman, has been amazingly effective as a mentor and a leader. So thank you, and President Reif.
Good morning. Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me? Thank you, Joel, for that very kind introduction. A little over a year ago, on the other side of campus, we announced what I described then as the dawn of a fabric revolution. As we'll see this morning, thanks to the hard work of many in this room, that revolution is well underway. It might seem odd for the MIT president to talk to you about fabrics, but AFFOA's mission and its values feel very familiar to us at MIT. I'd like to highlight 4 qualities of the partnership that resonate with the spirit of MIT. The first is a serious commitment to research. The world knows MIT as a place that leverages innovation to solve complex problems in service to humanity. But if you don't have serious research, you don't get serious innovation. It's that simple. The devices and systems AFFOA will manufacture build on years of painstaking work in labs and centers at MIT and far beyond. It is that solid foundation that makes possible the kind of breakthroughs you experience when you tour the facilities. The AFFOA partnership demonstrates the power of research to open our minds to new products, new systems, and new possibilities. And that is as MIT as it gets. The second quality that resonates with the MIT community is the strength AFFOA draws from a rich and diverse network of collaborators. At last check, the partnership has grown to include 109 members, 43 startups, 26 academic institutions, 15 industry leaders, and 25 members of the Fabric Innovation Network. This cohort represents much of the nation's fabric manufacturing base. And of course, it all depends on a major commitment from the federal government and state governments. MIT is proud to host a facility in Cambridge, and we are proud to lead. But there can be no question that whatever success AFFOA enjoys will stem from the talent and dedication of this remarkable collaborative group. Third, AFFOA is a testament to the power of American ingenuity. As a community that attracts talent from around the world, MIT is profoundly global. But MIT is also profoundly American. The Institute was founded in the middle of the 19th century intentionally to accelerate America's industrial revolution. And our graduates have invented fundamental technologies, launched new industries, and created millions of American jobs. With a Made in the USA clause for all its IP-based manufacturing, AFFOA is writing a wonderful new chapter in MIT's long record of American innovation and manufacturing. We hear more and more about the role technology is playing in displacing workers, especially in this country. AFFOA will give that narrative an important new twist. Because by leveraging technology, AFFOA will build a skilled workforce, create the jobs of the future, and grow the economy in Cambridge, in Massachusetts, and across the United States. And finally, the initiative feels familiar to us at MIT because it is bold. The 2 product platforms Yoel described in his remarks remind us of just how bold. When he talks about the partnership's promise, Yoel often refers to Moore's law. Moore's law holds that the number of transistors in a dense integrated circuit doubles every 2 years. It is that incredible rate of doubling that allowed the impressive miniaturization of computing, which led to the smartphone that we cannot live without. Well, Yoel's vision is even more daring. He anticipates that the number of devices in a fiber will double every 12 months, uncovering possibilities that we cannot imagine today. Seeing what Yoel has accomplished this year, I think someday soon we will all marvel at the wonders of Fink's law. It is for these reasons, AFFOA's commitment to research, collaboration, American ingenuity, and boldness that MIT believes so deeply in the partnerships and its mission. We look forward to working with all of you as you help to lead a manufacturing revolution that will make our organizations, our states, our regions, and our country extremely proud. Before Governor Baker begins his remarks, I want to deeply thank our governor and all of the local, state, and federal leaders with us today for their vision, their trust, their support, and their friendship. We are proud to take this exciting step with you. And I want to acknowledge 3 individuals in particular whose hard work and dedication over the past 18 months have been extraordinary. To AFFOA Chairman, General Paul Kern, thank you for your guidance and leadership. Yoel describes you as a force for good. And there is no greater proof than your work on behalf of 2 recently announced fabric discovery centers, one at Umass Lowell and the other one at MIT Lincoln Laboratory, are significantly proof of that. I'm grateful for everything you've done to bring us to this point. And of course, a huge thank you to Yoel and to Tina Gilman. Where's Tina? Who have again worked their magic this morning. Somehow you have taken the bright thread of an idea for AFFOA and woven into an extraordinary and extremely promising reality. And you have built an exceptional team in the process. I greatly appreciate your commitment to this extremely important effort. And Yoel, if I could only convince you to wear, at one of these events, a very simple fabric known as a tie, I would really feel accomplished. Thank you all very much.
Good morning, everybody, and on behalf of the Commonwealth, I'm very pleased to be here today to celebrate this milestone associated with the AFFOA initiative generally. Joel, I just want you to know that when I came home and told my wife I had a 75% favorability rating, she said, "That's great, honey, that's a C." No big heads in our house. Let me just start by saying, first of all, that this is a very big deal, but it should not come as that much of a surprise. Massachusetts has been living by its wits pretty much since the beginning. It's always been a tremendous source of innovation, creativity, and imagination forever and ever and ever since the very beginning. And this is just one more step with respect to that. And as far as this particular institute is concerned, we have a long and cherished history in textiles and fabrics to begin with, and this literally just takes that cherished history and pushed it forward into sort of what I would describe as the next act. The fact that MIT is partnering with Umass Lowell and a whole host of other nonprofit research organizations, colleges and universities, and private sector players like New Balance is just a statement about MIT's capacity to bring together a wide variety of players in this space and to be the trusted leader on an initiative like this. We love having New Balance, another great local company involved in this program as well, Rob, and we especially appreciate the help and support we got from our colleagues in Washington to make this happen. But this is one of several initiatives that Massachusetts is participating in. We're also involved, there are 14 of these institutes across the country, and 9 of them have significant participation from folks here in the Commonwealth. I'm not going to run through all of them, but I do think it's worth pointing out that we're also big players in the biopharmaceutical manufacturing initiative, in the robotics initiative, in the photonics initiative, and in the Flextronics initiative as well. And I think sometimes we forget about the fact that day in and day out, we have one of the biggest and best ecosystems that brings together folks from both our private sector and our public sector to chase big ideas on the next horizon. And especially in this particular case, the long history that the folks at Hanscom and the folks at Natick have had with their colleagues in both the college and research arena, as well as in the private sector and in the innovation economy. This is a perfect example of how we have, in many ways, a lot of the right ingredients to lead on this next act in fibers. And while there are many applications to this that people have talked about today, the idea of keeping people cool in hot climates, keeping people comfortable in cold climates, being a mechanism that can be used to help people monitor illness and to monitor chronic disease. I would suggest to all of you that in some respects, some of the biggest and best ideas that will come out of this initiative aren't necessarily known to us today. They're going to come from the focus and the attention and the creativity that the folks who are deeply involved and embedded in this will bring to it over the course of the next few years. And let me just close by saying that it is a real tribute to all of us to have this opportunity to work collaboratively together. There's lots and lots of talk these days about how nobody gets along with anybody on anything. And I think a chance like this to bring together the very best in government, the very best in state government, the very best in our federal government, the very best in our military service, the very best in our civilian intellectual thought leaders to pursue an initiative like this that, as President Reif said, can help us rethink the way we think about manufacturing textiles and fabrics and how textiles and fabrics can be used to support people in a whole variety of circumstances is really just a great example of what this Commonwealth has always been all about. And I look forward to seeing the work that comes out of this, and I especially look forward to being able to wear something, maybe a tie, Joel, that will keep me warm on a cold day and cool on a hot day. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it is exciting to be here today, and it truly is the case that partnership is the watchword of the day, and partnership not in the sense of that means everybody gets to do a little bit less, but partnership in the sense that it means everybody gets to build on other people's ideas and turn it into something extraordinary. I'm very grateful to be here with the Department of Defense, with MIT, and with the University of Massachusetts Lowell. Our private sector partners, our state partners, New Balance, this is terrific, partners from around the country. We have people here from Florida and Texas, Indiana, California, and more. And all of this is part of what makes AFFOA possible. You know, I want to underscore, because my job is always to represent the federal part of this, the Defense Department's part in this and the importance of what may come out of this. This is work that will help service members do their jobs better and keep them safer. All 3 of my brothers served in the military, and I know firsthand how important it is that our service members have the best possible gear and equipment. And I believe that this is going to be transformative. So I wanted to say a special thank you for this work. But I also want to think just for a minute about the reason why AFFOA is possible. That we have a long history here in Massachusetts of textile innovation dating back to the Industrial Revolution and the Lowell mills. that Natick Labs has been here for decades doing impressive defense work and has led the nation and the world in fabric development and innovative approaches to how outfitting one of our service members truly changes what they can do. Our world-class universities and our leadership in technology and research are unmatched anywhere in the world. And we have a proud history in manufacturing, and this is part of our claiming the leadership for the 21st century in manufacturing. But there's one more piece that I want to underscore here, and that is none of us would be here today if it had not been for decades and decades and decades of American investments in science. Investments in science that were undertaken when no one was sure what it would lead to. Science is critical to our future. Now, we're here because people invested long ago when they had no idea that we would talk about fabrics that could actually speak and listen. We're here because people believed that we invest in the future. And if we build a giant pipeline of ideas, amazing things will come from it. That means that we should be grateful today, but we should be more resolute than ever that the United States government should expand its investment in science going forward. So thank you all today. Thank you, Yoel, for doing this. And as someone who's never far from her backpack, I am looking forward to the time when I can actually use it for communication. Sounds good.
Well, I'm coming between two impossible speakers, Elizabeth Warren and Joe Kennedy, but it is my honor to be here in this great, great university. And as President Reif was talking about MIT as a global educational institute, but uniquely American, it reminded me of Paul's two uncles came to this country from Greece in the early 1915 or so, ended up as students at this great university, arrived here not speaking a word of English, were able to graduate, and it changed the course of their family's history. So you have been open to so many historically, and how grateful we are. And great to be here today as you open this center. Revolutionary fabrics and fibers have emerged as important enablers for industries ranging from defense to healthcare. And I don't need to tell any of you in the room that. And we all know that further development will continue to spur the innovation that makes Massachusetts a leader in these sectors. Our state does have the long history of being at the forefront of textile innovation. As you all know, in the district I represent, gateway cities like Lowell, Lawrence, and others were at the heart of the American Industrial Revolution, breaking new ground in textile manufacturing over 150 years ago. So that is why it was fitting that last month, Governor Baker was in Lowell to announce the Fabric Discovery Center at Umass Lowell, a public partner in this great initiative we're celebrating here this morning in Cambridge. With such a proud tradition of textile innovation, the 3rd District and Massachusetts as a whole are well positioned to lead a modern revolution in the fabric and fiber industry. As we all know, Massachusetts is home to a unique ecosystem, bringing together first-class academics, high-tech companies, facilities and resources, and a skilled workforce to form an innovation hub unlike anywhere else in this country. This ecosystem has a domino effect, drawing new companies and opportunities to the state, so that we are always growing and building. This is especially true when it comes to the defense sector, which has reached out to and partnered with this unique ecosystem. In recent years, I have had the honor of inviting some of the country's top military leaders to visit Massachusetts in order to highlight and make real this reality. And each one, from generals to congressional leadership, is greatly impressed by the innovative work already being done in the Commonwealth. They recognize the potential that exists for so much more cutting-edge research and development as they grapple with an ever-changing security and environment and an enduring commitment to maximize the safety of those who serve on our behalf. Installations like Natick Soldier Systems and MIT's own Lincoln Labs at Hanscom Air Force Base are pioneering new technologies every day. These important federal investments have helped spur the innovation that is necessary to keep our service members safe in an increasingly competitive and changing world, particularly in the technological sphere. Locating one of the fabric centers here in Massachusetts is a clear indication that the federal government recognizes this unique ecosystem, how it will advance American manufacturing into the 21st century, and how essential it is to securing our economic and military competitive advantage. As a member on the House Armed Services Committee, I know how important it is for our nation to remain on the cutting edge of technology, especially when it comes to our national security. In order for the men and women of our armed services to be as safe and as successful as possible in the field, they must have the most modern resources and equipment possible. And that includes, among so many other things, clothing and apparel. That is why forward-thinking initiatives like this Fabric Center are so critical. Whether it is reducing weight or increasing high-tech capabilities, creative modern textiles can ease the burden of combat for our service members, help them keep them safe around the globe, reduce costs, and the military's carbon footprint. And these benefits will inevitably spread to the civilian world as well. This institute will be a catalyst for new research, investment, and startups in the field of textile development. And it will complement the state's already vibrant textile industry, where entrepreneurs and companies, such as two companies located in Lawrence, 99 Degrees Custom, a startup, and New Balance, a well-recognized and highly successful company, are developing innovative textiles and apparel for the consumer market. This public-private partnership bringing together industry, academia, and government has the potential to begin yet another innovation revolution for our Commonwealth. And how fortunate we are in this state to have so many, that we are not captive of one industry. By engaging private institutions like MIT and public universities such as Umass Lowell, we harness the region's extraordinary collective brainpower and produce a significant economic impact, as well as secure major benefits for the men and women of our armed services. I want to thank Governor Baker for his commitment to this goal, and I look forward to seeing this center and the Fabric Discovery Center at UMass Lowell in action. It's my honor to be here. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. I have the extraordinary joy and honor of finding myself in a speaking program after President Reif, Governor Baker, Senator Warren, and Niki Tsongas. Best thing you can do if you ever find yourself in this position is to be quick and get off the stage as abruptly as you can. So I will try to honor that commitment to all of you. First off, Governor, members of your administration today, thank you for your unwavering support for this project and other critical economic development efforts across our Commonwealth. To Senator Warren and Congresswoman Tsongas, it has been an extraordinary honor for me to work not only by your side in Washington, but here at home. And for those of you that might have missed it, Congresswoman Tsongas has been toiling away on the Armed Services Committee in the interest of the Defense Department, our men and women in uniform and their families now for quite some time. And she does so their sleeves rolled up, getting initiatives like this one not only across the finish line, but also funded, which is a big deal. So, Niki, honored to be here with you as always. And Mr. President, Professor Fink, and the entire MIT team, congratulations. In the century and a half since this university has opened, there has been no shortage of amazing inventions and achievements inside the labs and classrooms. If the tour this morning was any indication, I cannot wait to see, and I personally cannot imagine what AFFOA will bring next. Throughout our Commonwealth, if there's one thread that connects all of our cities and towns, it is the thread that of our workers that can be traced across industries, regions, and even generations. A fierce pride in product. A belief that nothing designed or developed within our state borders will disappoint you, and a certainty that when markets demand shift, our workers will rise to that challenge and reinvent themselves. Nowhere does that ethos shine brighter than in communities across my district, particularly in Fall River. You've got companies like Matuk that weathered an economic storm and are now reaching new economic heights. You've got small business owners like Jim Petroso and Fall River Apparel who have reinvented their workplaces through creative partnerships with millennial companies like Etsy. And you've got startups like Project Repat that have tapped into existing infrastructure and institutional know-how to develop products that we didn't even know that we needed. Their stories helped inspire me to introduce a bill called the Revitalize America Manufacturing and Innovation Act during my first term. It's a legislation that officially created the United States National Network of Manufacturing and Innovation Institutes that will support AFFOA in the years ahead. And with the advice and guidance and support of many of you in this room today, we were able to push that bill through the House and Senate with broad bipartisan support and watch President Obama sign it into law in 2014. It took 2 years to get a bill through the House that ended up passing unanimously. It's an interesting thing on that both ways. 2 years, nobody voted against it. It took 2 years to pass a bill that nobody actually voted against. Go figure. I'm glad we got a bill passed too. Thank you, Governor. Still in its nascent stages, NNMI will serve as an information highway between this institute and those already up and running across the country, some of which the Governor detailed in his remarks, allowing them to share best practices, address major challenges, and pursue collaborations. With investment of individual agencies like the Department of Defense, critical state partners like the Baker administration, stakeholders across the private sector, this network will strengthen and expand for years to come. And far beyond the city limits of Cambridge, this institute here in Massachusetts will pursue partnerships and collaborations in every corner of our Commonwealth. The strides made here today will reach factory floors and incubators, community colleges, and voc tech schools across the state and our region. Today marks another step in the revitalization of one of our state's most critical industries, and I'm honored to play a part in this celebration. A final huge congratulations to all of you that made today possible. It was an awful lot of work, but you should be very, very proud of the beginnings of what we've seen here, Yoel. Really extraordinary. Thank you so much.
Good morning. It's delightful to join all of you here in Cambridge and a pleasure to share the stage with so many delightful speakers who soon to be leaving me. It's okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. It's a special honor for me to represent the Department of Defense at the grand opening of AFFOA's headquarters Fabric Discovery Center. And almost all of you know AFFOA is the 6th Manufacturing USA Institute established by the department and the 8th established nationally. The opening of this headquarters Fabric Discovery Center is an important milestone in DoD's partnership with AFFOA. Make no mistake, manufacturing is a national security matter. Not only is it deeply important to the United States as a driver of the U.S. economy, it is also a source of vital technology to the warfighter. The United States' strategic advantage is linked hand in glove with the capabilities and capacity of our technology and manufacturing base, as well as the pace set by our innovation ecosystem. The technological superiority we enjoy today can be directly traced to manufacturing's exploitation of advanced technologies. In order to ensure that we can maintain that technological edge against our increasingly capable adversaries, we must continue to invest in manufacturing. The DoD-led manufacturing institutes are a key investment strategy for overcoming challenges and reducing risks faced by the U.S. industrial base in developing and transitioning emerging technologies. Manufacturing USA institutes have two principal goals: bridge the gap between basic research and product development and fielding, and provide access in the U.S. to key enabling technologies that can enhance the performance and capabilities of future defense and commercial systems. In this effort, AFFOA and the Army Contracting Command signed a cooperative agreement to establish the Revolutionary Fibers and Textiles Manufacturing USA Institute here in Cambridge. Signed on March 29, 2016, this agreement provided for 5 years of operation and a 6-month stand-up phase with financial support supplied by a combination of $75 million in DoD funds and more than $270 million in cost sharing. AFFOA brings together a collaborative national network of partners with a unique expertise and dedicated equipment and capabilities across the entire manufacturing supply chain, allowing it to pioneer a new era in fibers and textiles manufacturing, which has been referred to as a fabric revolution. AFFOA's Made in America manufacturing strategy will help build a supply chain of the future that is built upon technological advances, as opposed to reestablishing low-value capabilities lost to globalization. This is strategically important to the DoD and serves to benefit U.S. commercial companies and the U.S. economy. To name a few, the scope of AFFOA encompasses novel commercial and Department of Defense products, such as ultra-hydrophobic insulated tents that keep soldiers and hikers dry under extreme weather conditions, smart soldier uniforms enabled with friend-foe identification that allow for power and data transmission through the fabric, textiles that sense chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear agents, provide sound reduction, and enable solar generation of power. Our warfighters have the dual challenge of reducing the weight that is carried into the battlefield while also providing additional capability. These advanced fabrics can help to combat that challenge by transforming warfighter lethality, power generation, situational awareness, mobility, and protection. I had the opportunity to tour the Fabric Discovery Center this morning. It truly is an avant-garde, end-to-end prototyping facility. The national network of Fabric Discovery Centers, for which this headquarters facility serves as a model, will play an important role in the department's efforts to secure U.S. leadership in revolutionary fibers and textiles manufacturing. Acting as distributed startup incubators, these facilities will be able to harness technology innovation, conduct fast prototyping, engage universities, leverage state funding, and increase the pace of innovation in this exciting field. The department looks to Manufacturing USA institutes to support a manufacturing base for DoD weapon systems and to increase the capabilities for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I'd like to congratulate you, those of you who worked hard and whose hard work and dedication contributed to the opening of this state-of-the-art facility. I look forward to seeing what the Fabric Discovery Centers will accomplish. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Rob DeMartini. I'm the CEO of New Balance, and I just want to make 3 brief points this morning. And the first is to say thank you. On behalf of a Massachusetts-based company, I want to thank Yoel and the MIT organization for starting up AFFOA and getting the funding. I want to thank the governor and the congressional delegation that makes Massachusetts simply the best place to headquarter a company. And on behalf of 7,000 global associates and 1,500 who have been committed to manufacturing for more than our 110-year history, I want to say thank you on all their parts. The second point I'd like to make is how exciting this is to our industry. I think, as you heard, as a commercial operation in the footwear and apparel industry, it's been passed up in some young people's minds by much faster-moving companies, the Googles of the world, and these kinds of things. And the idea that these two come together is a recruiting advantage, it's an innovation advantage, and I know as a company that's been investing in domestic and modern manufacturing aggressively lately, we're getting some of the best and brightest realizing that they do have futures in manufacturing in this country. So that's a fantastic thing. The last point I'd like to simply make is to Yoel and the AFFOA organization is you have my commitment that our company will stay a full-time partner. We will continue to invest, and we will challenge the industry that today takes more than 2 years to get a product to market, that we're going to get a heck of a lot faster at that. So on that front, on behalf of all 7,000 employees, I want to say thank you for including us.
So I know what you want now is another hour speech about what we've been doing. I'm not going to do that. I just want to say this is exciting. I can't be more proud of this group of people that I've had the opportunity to work with for the last year and a half right now. From the government, from the state of Massachusetts, from the university, this has absolutely been terrific. You bring into it our big industry, our small businesses, academics around the country, and this is an opportunity that we just can't miss. This is exciting stuff. You're at the forefront of something that we all should be very, very proud of. that we're part of. And this is just the beginning. And I just can't emphasize that much. This is the beginning of a whole new idea of creating new business, new manufacturing, and new capabilities. It's going to be good for the country. It's going to be good for the Defense Department. And I really do appreciate every bit of work. If I could ask one thing, if we could all just give the round of applause for the members of the AFFOA team, please. Now, you all know that Yoel Fink is kind of laid-back guy, doesn't do much around, it doesn't just, just kind of waits as things happen. Don't bother mentioning that to the people who work for him. They have been burning the candles on both ends for many months now to get this done, and the state of Massachusetts implementing it. We're going to do this again in September at Lincoln Lab. Maybe not quite as big and maybe a little bit more closed in terms of the information we'll be providing, but it's going to be an exciting event that we can really focus on work for the Defense Department and bring in the capabilities that we have here in the state of Massachusetts between Natick and Lincoln. That's a great opportunity, and then to bring the university and industry into that, I just can't wait. So we are really looking forward to the next step here, Umass, Lowell, and a few other places which we're going to encourage to move a little faster outside of the Commonwealth. And so we're going to move on to the next places as we move on. And if I could add one last thing, if I could just ask my board to stand up, please. They're all sitting around here. How about giving them a round of applause for keeping this going? And to the Department of Defense, who really got this going with Congressman Kennedy's initiative that was started in Congress, and then the state falling in and providing the support behind us. To Steve Lukowski and Tracy Frost, who run this for our government side, again, a great deal of thanks. You're all in for an exciting morning now. You're going to see some products and projects that come, and I hope what you think about it is, what else can I do? Where does this start us thinking about what's next? What are the prices that we can bring down for goods in this country and manufacturing that we can bring back to this country? So I look forward to seeing the rest of you around today. Keep looking. We're in this for the long run. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. This is the end of the formal part of today. And so we had some of the dignitaries had to leave. For those of us that are staying, I just wanted to make a brief announcement. Some of our packs in this room have treasures hidden in them. And so one of the things we'd like to encourage you to do is engage with us. I think you've heard of Pokemon Go. We have AFFOA Go today. Go is our grand opening. And basically, by looking at packs, you will eventually find the treasure. I just want to say one word about the treasure because it actually captures our story. The treasure is a 3D knitted computer sock, and I'll just show you one of these. It's right in here. So this computer sock is in fact lookable, so it connects to our app. It was 3D knitted in Pennsylvania at Drexel by a designer, Genevieve Dion. I think Genevieve is here somewhere, so you could stand right over here. And the thing to remember is that while this was produced on a machine in large quantities, there is only one of these in the world. Again, it is as unique as you are. And in fact, you could use it in conjunction with the Looks app to project the things that you want to share with the world. So with that, I'd like to invite you to really look ahead and look forward. And we have a few product videos that were prepared by IDEO, our partners, and by Noah, who's a member of my team. And so we're going to show them now. Feel free to view them. And if there's any compliments, those should be directed at IDEO and at Noah. So thank you very, very much. And I hope you enjoy the next period. Take care.